Okay, yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is afternoon, so good afternoon. Uh, it's been a while. Actually, I went missing, but I think I'm beginning to be back. Yes. Okay, there is an issue which happened in Kenya, and it's already more than a month old, where somebody masqueraded as a lawyer. Um, this person was really celebrated by the general public. It is alleged that this person acted for clients in about 126 cases and won in all these cases. That was really sensational, and I think people really had what they wanted to hear. People choose to hear what they want to hear. Assuming that this person really was a lawyer and he was admitted, say that is last year, because the person whose identity was using was admitted as a lawyer. That is was admitted as an advocate of the High Court of Kenya in 2022. So from the year 2022 to date, it is not practicable that somebody may act for different parties in 126 matters, then have them concluded in months, in a few months, because on average, a single case in a court that is not busy takes up to a year to be concluded. How about cases which are filed in a busy, in busy stations like Nairobi, say Milimani law courts, Makadara law courts, Kibera law courts? How do you expect a matter to run just for several months and then it's over? And then being handled by one lawyer, he will explode. So that was really sensational. But again, is it okay if somebody acts for parties? Somebody who is not a lawyer defends, clients, and then he wins the case, or he wins those cases. Do you think he should be applauded? Do you think somebody who is not a doctor and then proceeds to operate on patients, and these patients recover, then it's discovered that this person was a quack? Do you think that such a person should be celebrated? If somebody is not a pilot, masquerades as one, and flies planes carrying passengers for, say, a period of 8 years, and then it's discovered this person was in fact not a pilot, do you think such a person should be celebrated? Is there a danger in allowing people who are not qualified in whatever they are doing to continue, or to be allowed to engage in those professions when it is discovered that in fact they are not qualified? I think that's a question that should be answered. Okay, back to lawyers. You see, in Kenya, for you to be an advocate of the High Court, the training process takes around 6 years. first of all, after your high school, you must have the right qualifications, which in Kenya, under the 844 system that is now being phased out, you must have attained a mean grade of C plus. That is on the minimum. And then the language requirements. You ought to have achieved a minimum of B plain in either English or Kiswahili, apart from that minimum grade of C plus. Then starts the journey at the university. Right now, I'm actually recording this from Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, where I also teach law. So I'm acquainted with the process. The process, that you have to go through before you are made an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. So you start at the university, that is 4 years. 4 years classes, then you graduate, and then you see, after that there is admission to the Kenya School of Law, because after graduation you're just a lawyer, you are not an advocate. After graduation you're just a lawyer, you are not an advocate. That means you cannot represent any client, you cannot draft any document, any legal document. You cannot draft a contract, you cannot represent anyone in court. Basically all those functions of law, you cannot do any of such. And if you engage in any of those, actually it's an offense, it's a criminal offense, because what you do basically is that you're impersonating an advocate, though in my view it doesn't attract stiff penalties, because as a person who is impersonating an advocate, if you are tried and found guilty under the relevant law, which is the Advocates Act, you actually are liable to be imprisoned for a term not exceeding, if I'm not wrong, 2 years, or an alternative to some fine. Okay, now that's a lawyer. From there you proceed to the Kenya School of Law, where you pursue the advocates training program. That is for a period of 1.5 years. 1 year in class. That is in current, 1 year attending class, sitting for exams. Then after that 1 year, you proceed to what is known as pupillage. That is some, in simple language, that is attachment in some institutions that are recognized under the law, including law firms, Office of the Attorney General, Office of the Director of Public Prosecution, that is the DPP, for 6 months. Then after these 6 months, when you have passed all your exams at Kenya School of Law, you petition the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya to make you an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. So essentially, probably that takes around 6 years from the date you started studying law at the university. So it's a long process. Let's say that is about 6 good years. Someone is pursuing training as an advocate, that is within the jurisdiction of Kenya. Now this person has sacrificed. Those are around, I would say, probably 6 years. So do you think that it is a light thing to rubbish the efforts of somebody who has studied for 6 years in favor of somebody who is masquerading, somebody who has never stepped in a law school to study law. Um, do you think, this, the latter person should be received? His actions should be regularized, and then consider just like this other person who sacrificed 6 years, paid a lot of money to be a member of this profession. I think the reason why there are reasons why people go to school. There are reasons why people are trained to be what they are, and this one should be respected. Um, there are guarantees that you get when you actually walk into the office of someone that has studied for 6 years, in terms of the content, in terms of the guarantee that the right kind of advice will be proffered and the right kind of services will be offered by this particular person, as opposed to a masquerader who it cannot really be said that at the end of the day you will get the bargain for your money. Okay, so okay, this Brian guy was actually charged with a series of several counts in forgery, uttering a false document, forgery, and okay, when something starts, like in Kenya, there are cases which are sensational, they are reported in the media, but again they go quiet. That does not mean that they are not moving. Actually, they are in court. There are mentions coming up. The matter is mentioned. The date for hearing set. So we may never know how it's progressing, but what you know that it's happening. Probably the next time it's reported is when a witness will have testified in court, maybe from the police, maybe from the Law Society of Kenya, about that issue, and then it will go quiet again. Maybe next time you hear about it is when the court has concluded hearing witnesses from the prosecution side, with the last witness, and then the court renders its ruling as to whether this guy has a case to answer. After the witnesses have testified from the prosecution side, the case is closed in as far as the prosecution is concerned, and then the court retreats to do what is known as what we know as a ruling under a provision of the law. We have a law called the Criminal Procedure Code, which is chapter 75 of the laws of Kenya. So under section 210, once the prosecution side is through with their evidence, the court renders a ruling, and in that ruling it will decide based on the evidence adduced by the prosecution whether the accused person has a case to answer. And if it finds that this accused person has a case to answer, the accused person will be put on his defense, and then he will be given opportunity to testify, and if he has witnesses, to call those witnesses also to testify. As for the accused person, he has three options. The first one is to give a sworn evidence. In this case, he is put under oath. He swears and then he gives evidence, in which case he will be open to cross-examination. After giving his evidence, the prosecution side will have that opportunity to ask him questions. Same thing for him during the prosecution case. He has that opportunity to cross-examine witnesses produced by the prosecution to testify against him. Okay, now that's his first option. He is put under oath, he testifies, and if he has witnesses, he calls. His evidence has high credibility at that point. Second option is for him to give an unsworn evidence. He is not sworn, but that kind of evidence is not taken seriously. And if he has witnesses, he can call, and those witnesses will be sworn. They cannot give unsworn. For his witnesses, they must be sworn. In his case, he can choose not to be sworn, but his witnesses have to be sworn. So, okay, now he gives this evidence. The third option is for him to keep quiet and wait for the decision of the court. So, maybe the Brian's case may go to that extent. We don't know whether the court will find him as person who has a case to answer at the end of the prosecution's case. But we leave it to the, the justice system. We want to see what will happen. However, my view is that Quacks should be fought. Quacks should not be allowed to thrive, because we don't know what may happen in the future. These actually, the effects are felt gradually in terms of maybe service delivery with time. When very serious mistakes are made by people who are not qualified to do whatever they are doing, that is when we start realizing the importance of allowing only those who are qualified to do what actually the law allows them to do. So this thing of quackery should be fought. At all costs, with a tooth and nail and whatever weapon we have. We should not allow the quacks to thrive, because you may not feel the impact in the short run, but in the long run, the damage may be very devastating. I am not for quacks. Okay, let me know what you think in the comment section. This is Wakili Norbert. Please subscribe if you have not done so yet. Also comment and share if possible. In the near future, I'll be going to the public to ask about their views on various topics, including these ones that I've just discussed. There are a lot of interesting things that are, on the way. Things that resonate with the public, things that you can just ask them at, I would say, a simple, common man language. And then we hear their views. Things that are current, current things that are happen and in the media, take them up. A very interesting thing. A lot of topics, including inheritance. The law of inheritance in Kenya, as you know, it has recently really taken some substantial turn. Substantial change. So there are a number of things that we shall be considering, which I think will be really exciting. We find them interesting. So thank you. I've just finished dealing with my students here, administering cards. So just here hanging around before I proceed to my hall. So until next time, see you. Goodbye. Have a nice time.